So I'm up potting some tomatoes, so I figured I'd show you how I do it. Buddy, hush. You're not helping. It's not hard. These are Baylor paste tomatoes, and I started them in this, and they're getting pretty tall. They have a lot of excess leaves, not just these starter leaves at the bottom. So it's time for these to go into a deeper container. Deeper, because tomatoes like to have their stem buried. So for tomatoes, it's pretty easy. I'm using these because somebody brought these to the garden exchange last year. They are kind of single use. After you've gotten them wet, the bottom starts to fall apart, and I always poke a hole in the bottom. Now I've got some dirt. What I have here is the cheapest Pro Mix, but you can use anything. Your garden soil that you have out there, some compost, any kind of dirt that you've got, it's totally fine. Just get it wet. So it's kind of like this chunky, if you really squeeze it, a little water comes out. And I'm just gonna put the tiniest bit in the bottom. See that? Just barely any in there at all. Now the tomatoes, almost all tomatoes, don't really mind their roots being messed with, but it's better to get them, or easier to get them out, if you squeeze both ways, and maybe even from the corners. Get the stems as close to the soil as you can, and lift. Oh, it's still stuck in there. What do? Squeeze the bottom of it. Squeeze that bottom part. And it'll kind of start forcing them out, and there they are. Now, you can see, shake the dirt off, you can see those roots, right? We want those all the way down in the bottom. And then you just take your hand, or whatever you've got, a fork or something, kind of hold them in place, because you want to keep these are 3 different plants. I want to keep the stems a little bit separated, because the stems are going to make roots. And what I do is I just put dirt all the way around, so they won't be like right up against the side. And then I put some dirt in the middle. And then I just pack dirt in. Press it down. You don't have to push it hard. Just gentle, 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 like that. Those will grow. They'll get big. They'll end up like this. And then we're going to put them in a bigger pot. And I'll show you that. So what I've got here is a taller pot. It doesn't matter if it's big, just tall, because these are tomatoes again. And if you look up close at these tomatoes, you can see fine little hairs all along the stems. Every one of those hairs wants to be roots. That's how they make more roots. So again, I'm going to squeeze. You can see all the roots. This was very root bound. See how that's growing? It's growing out of the stem into roots. Because I've already up potted these once. I planted them really, really early. I'm really impatient. So again, drop it all the way to the bottom of that pot. I only put a little handful of dirt in the bottom. Kind of hold them in place. And then I'm just going to kind of make a donut around the outside edge with dirt. I just don't like them touching the pot. I don't think it matters too much if they are. Sometimes they do. They seem to be okay either way. But it's just what I like to do. You don't have to do it. And then just pat some dirt in there. Not hard. You don't want it to be solid, but you do want it to have less give. You don't want a lot of air in there. And I watered the dirt before I put the tomatoes in it. And there's my big tall tomatoes. Now they look a lot shorter because all of their stem is down here. And it's going to make roots. And then when I put them outside, when it's finally warm enough, they will take off because they have all of that root system to grow on. I'm going to go back to putting my Baylor tomatoes, my paste tomatoes, into cups to give away. And again, just whatever crap I've got. I was going to put something else in these, but I'm just changing them. There's a grease pencil, Chinese marker, China marker, China marker. I don't know why they call it that, but it's a grease pencil. You can get these in any color and write on just about anything with them. Just about anything with them. And it's really hard to get rid of. Lasts forever. So if you have any kind of, container, you can write on it what you put into the container. I lose labels, so this is very helpful for me. But yeah, that's how I pot up my tomatoes. Most other plants are pretty similar. Some of them are really touchy about their roots. They don't like them to be bothered. So you have to be a little more careful with squashes and cucumbers and things. And I can kind of walk you through that too. Maybe I'll make another video about those tomatoes.